Okay, they turn into the Alan Keys and the Alan West. Okay, they turn into the Clarence Thomases. They turn into the black person that says all the racist ass bullshit that white people have been wanting to fucking say. You know, taking everything completely out of context, and they go up there and yeah, see, since I'll be called racist if I say it, well, I bring you the black guy. And it's always some black guys who just, I mean, he just wants to be a pet Negro so fucking bad. You know, and I'm not talking about, oh, you're just an Uncle Tom because you disagree with the majority of what black people are on. You know what I'm saying? But I don't get a sense from a lot of these people that they really have a genuine concern for black people and they really want things to change. I get the sense that they just want it to change so that they can be around white people and not carry the label associated with black people. You know, like that woman that was on the Negro Bedwench clip with Tariq Nasheed. You know, those people are messing it up for me. You know, that type of fucking rhetoric. Those people, I'm so mad, I'm so angry at niggas and black people and shit's gotta change. Not because they wanted to change so that they can operate, live, and exist in an intact, thriving black community because they're sick of it and they'd rather be around their own people than anybody else. They just want it to be the right type of black people. No, that's not what they're saying. You get these black buck dancing, you know, type of people that they just want to, you know, they want to be all up underneath white people. You know, they're all in the black community, and it needs to fix itself, and it needs to clean it up, and blah, blah, blah. There's a Blog Talk Radio show I went on not too long ago. I never posted the video, never got around to it because, you know, the conversation got, like, diluted, and there was a bunch of white guys on there, and, you know, I was addressing them, you know, about the, you know, they were, you know, talking about the whole, and one of the white guys, he made a valid point about, black people, you know, do need to be a part of, you know, such and such a cause, because if white people get something accomplished and you all are not there, then that'll only be further justification to exclude you all. And I said, that's a valid point. I said, valid point. So if we're at least there, we can at least bitch about, you know, hey, we helped it too, you know what I mean? But, you know, I'm just bringing it up, you know, as a point. But, you know, the show, it kind of got real diluted in terms of, the conversation. But one of the things that irritated me about one of the hosts of the show, and I did address her on this shit, you know, cause she was just like, I want to see a better black community, and I want it fixed up, and this needs to happen, and that needs to happen, but, you know, and here's how you know a Negro bedwench when you see one, or Uncle Tom, or whatever label you want to throw it at. Here's how you know they exist. After it's all cleaned up, okay, they go, and I still don't want to live around black people. I'm like, nah, you got some self-hate issues, boo-boo. That's what that is. Yeah, I still don't want to live around black people. I'm like, really? So even after it's all cleaned up and you still, like, think about that. Like, they still believe that there's something innately inferior with black people, even after you clean up all the things that create a lot of the social problems and the maladjusted behavior and all the other stuff. You still don't want to live around your people. I'm like, interesting. You know, that's like a nigga that's, you know, you start, you know, and black women are obese and they're overweight and they're nasty looking and they got kids out of wedlock and they got fucked up attitudes and all that other shit. And it's like, okay, and let me wave the wand. And after we wave the wand and there's nothing but a bunch of Kerry Washingtons, do you still want them? Are they still your first choice? If you say no, you don't even need to be in the conversation. You know, acting like, oh, if they fix that, yeah, I'd be first in line. You know, you gotta be careful of these motherfuckers. You really gotta be careful of these type of people who will sit up there and they'll say that type, you know, they'll talk their talk, they'll talk the rhetoric, they'll come out when it's time to slam black people, but they don't want to be black, they don't want to participate in the black community, they just literally just want to criticize, they don't want it fixed so that they can operate around their own people and have, you know, a black suburb and black decent schools and black businesses and everything, and so they can have, you know, black children and black pride about themselves. No, they want to be up underneath white folks and up underneath their wing and get patted on the head like a good pet Negro. That's what they want. And you gotta be able to identify these niggas and call them the fuck out. You know, and the hardest thing is because, again, there's you know, I think at this point in the game, a lot of people have mastered the art of blending the elements of truth with bullshit rhetoric. And because the elements of truth are there, people think that that gives the bullshit rhetoric merit when it's mixed with an element of truth. And you gotta be able to catch on. You gotta be able to catch on to that shit. You know, you should be able to identify that shit. It's like, yeah, that's true, but hold on now. You know, what do you want over here? And all you gotta do is just ask a couple key questions and shit. You know, who do you really side with? Who are you really fighting for? Or are you just mad that you were unfortunately born into the wrong group? You gotta ask that. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about these fucking buck dancing ass niggas and buck dancing ass Negro bedwenches. That's my video. SWP out. And I ain't even fire up the grills yet, and I'm fucking hungry. So, what's on my mind today? I got a video on affirmative action. Haven't posted that shit yet. Right? But let me tell you what ails me. So, what ails me is intellectual dishonesty or playing stupid on issues. I think what makes me even more frustrated are people who in one breath can be so logical and then in the next breath it's like they lose their fucking minds. Right? You know, that would be akin to you know, I don't know, certain points, let's say Chris Matthews makes, right? Chris Matthews on MSNBC. And then as soon as you get to gun control, it's like, oh, ban all guns, oh, it's gonna be like the Wild West out here. Right? Look at me dropping my phone and shit. Right? It's gonna be like the Wild West, right? It's like on certain social issues, when it comes to the liberals, yeah, I agree with certain shit. I don't give a fuck if you're gay or whatever the fuck it is, right? Don't care, right? But then they get over the guns and it's like they lose their fucking minds. And I feel the same way about white men. You know, and what do you want to call it? What they have to say about feminism. When white men are talking about feminism, oh my God, the logic just spews forth. Soon as you get to anything that has to do with race and shit, all of a sudden it's like, bam, Bill O'Reilly points all over the fucking place. All of a sudden, racism, I don't know what you're talking about. Right? All of a sudden, they don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Right? They are breaking down feminism, you know, with fractional distillation and high performance liquid chromatography, right? I mean, they are breaking the shit down to the motherfucking molecule and shit. When you get over the race, all of a sudden, white men like, oh, we don't know. All of a sudden, they suddenly can't draw fucking conclusions, the appropriate conclusions. All of a sudden, they're trying to find some way out of white guilt, or they're trying to find some way they're trying to find some way to blame the victim, you know, like that, that's what they're trying to do, you know, and it's just unbelievable when you got to sit there and you got to like painfully watch this. Like, I know you're not going off in this direction, and there they go, going off in the direction of I don't know what you're talking about. Another issue I have, you know, and this is you know, I stated this before about, you know, we are not on the same playing field as the white boys. We are not on the same fucking boat. You know, it is like when you got to listen to black women talk about what black men are denying them, and I'm like, yesterday it was niggas is in jail, you know, we're all fucked up, right? We're all in the ghetto with our baby mamas and everything, jobless, unemployed, underemployed, right? All that shit. But then suddenly, when it comes to the feminist arguments coming from black women, we're in positions to be denying them economic opportunities and denying them fucking raises and promotions that we can't give ourselves, right? Running around how much more educated black women are than black men, which is a fallacy. I direct you to your nearest STEM program, which is Black Female Devoid. But, you know, we got to listen to all this crap. You know, all this crap of their belief that we are perpetuating white supremacy and white patriarchy onto them, right? In the black community, patriarchy is not just patriarchy. There's white patriarchy, and then there's black patriarchy, and some of it I understand to a degree. Some of it I understand, because even black men have lost their minds. You know, and I see this even with a lot of the white men and MG Toe, and I've heard white men, you know, they call on the Blog Talk Radio, and these motherfuckers are just talking about complete role reversal. Talking about a bitch should pay for me, you know, I deserve the baddest bitch, but, you know, a woman, she should just accept whatever the fuck I give her. You know, that type of bullshit. I'm like, well, if she's a gold digger, motherfucker, you're a beauty digger. That's all it is to it. You want the baddest bitch with the least amount of investment. You know, I mean that from a human standpoint, fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? Fuck any type of unequal exchange like that, right? So you got white men that are on the same shit, but again, because you know there's still a white dominated superstructure, and you got white Wall Street, and you got Fortune 500 companies operated, owned, and controlled by white men, and big ass malls with high end clothes and the whole fashion. You got all this whole structure. The handful of white men that are a bunch of assholes doesn't really affect anything. Okay, but since black men don't have a fucking structure, the handful of black men that are assholes affects everything, even if it's a handful, right? Because again, we don't have our own structure. We're just existing in the white man's world, right? So we don't get any respect with especially our own women, right? Which was again the whole intent behind some of the things that were intentionally done in the black community to create division and dissent and all that other stuff among the black ranks, among the black community, so that we don't foster and develop, you know, children that might go out here and economically compete with whites. That's what the fuck it comes down to at the end of the day. Which is why, again, like I said, when our problems, our crime, our poverty, and everything else that you know, that happens in the BC spills out of the BC, the black community, you know, acronym for the black community, spills out of the BC and on to white people, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, good. I hope they get all sorts of fucking wet and fucked up and everything else. And that's a bad thing for me to say, because it's not like I can point to one individual white guy and say, oh, it's his fault. Can't say that. But I'm saying in terms of when you want to look at the whole social dynamic and the racial politics of it and look at it at the collective level, good, fuck them up. I don't care. I'm glad they get fucked up. You know, and white men want to act like they can't comprehend that. I mean, it's the same as like fucking September 11th. All the fucking, all the foreign policy that the United States has had overseas in order to what? Get cheap resources, cheap oil, putting dictators in place to retard their democracies, only to now come through and say it's great that they're overthrowing their governments and establishing a democracy, because basically those leaders fell out of favor with the United States or with the West, right? You can look at fucking who's the guy in Egypt, Mubarak. You know, you can look at fucking Gaddafi, right? You can look at the House of Saud. I mean, these are all people that the United States has historically backed. But because they didn't come to this whatever certain agreement, all of a sudden, you know, a month later, a coup happens. And the white boys want to act like, oh, we don't know nothing about that. Then when you get these people that want to fucking slam planes into their fucking buildings, you know, then all of a sudden white boys want to act like, oh my God, why do they hate us? Right? They want to get on television. Why do they hate us? Right? And again, I understand you have the muhaha the muhaha oligarchy white boys that know exactly what the fuck they're doing, and you got the proletariat, you know, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I only get my information from MSNBC and Fox News. Right? You got those fucking morons. Right? And that's unfortunately the vast majority of ill-informed white American males. They don't know what the fuck is going on. They're just in it. They don't get it. Right? And it's easy for the white oligarchy, the white elite, those who are in power and trying to stay in power, to get the white boys to fucking co-sign that shit. I'm telling you, the proletariat white boys swear that they're on a fucking team that they're not. I mean, they're closer to the team than somebody like me, obviously, right? I'm not white, right? They're closer to it than I am, but when they get arrogant and start thinking that they're in the inner circle of white elite males, I'm like, motherfucker, you got it fucked up. You fucked up right now. They're like, what do you mean, nigger? What do you mean? I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm not even gonna explain this to you because you wouldn't even believe me if I told you. So fuck it. You know, but you know, black people not having their own, you know, black men not having their own infrastructure, man, that shit fucks us up. And we gotta sit there, we gotta listen to you know, ideas and concepts. I mean the shit, it's just like white boys and their shit with their women is so motherfucking basic, it's not even funny. Like, white boys are not underneath, you know, some other group's global and racial oppression. They don't have to deal with that shit. That doesn't even enter the room. They're strictly dealing with, bitch, we build nations and you bitches are ungrateful. That's all it fucking is when it comes to the white female interaction. That's all it is. Black people, we got to deal with inferiority complexes. We got to deal with white racial oppression. We got to deal with discrimination. We have to deal with you know, white people, you know, economically fucking up black people and keeping us out of circles of power and shit like that. It's like, I was listening to some videos on Russian TV. They had some white guy, Jared, I think it was Jared Taylor or some shit like that. Oh, he dismantled affirmative action. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this white guy talk about, you know, who's lazy or like, example, perfect example. He brought up Detroit. He's like, look, Detroit has a black mayor, and Detroit has black council people, and this, that, and that, and it's all fucked up. See, that's real slick. See, that's a white boy tactic, right? You know, give the black people the face of a position of power, but they have no power behind it because they're not in the money pot. You know what I'm saying? The lifeblood of Detroit was what? The auto industry. White boys control that shit. It don't matter how many black politicians' faces you put the fuck up there. They ain't got no money. With no money, you can't do shit. With no tax base, you can't do shit. You know what I'm saying? So the idea that, you know, because we have black faces up there, that suddenly that means the niggers took over is bullshit. Total bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you know, I love this one. White boys come to me with this one. But Barack Obama, look, he's the president. What about Eric Holder? He's a district attorney, right? Clarence Thomas, he's a Supreme Court justice, right? They jump up like that equates to, you know, racism is over. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, Barack Obama ain't got no fucking power like that. You know what I'm saying? The people with the real power are like the Koch brothers and shit. You know what I mean? The people with the real power are like that billionaire Sheridan, you know, the casino guy, you know, that owns the casino in Macau in freaking China, but because he's been lining politicians' pockets to let him go over there and do some shit like that. You know, that's where the fucking power is. The power is where the money is. You know, white people try to, again, intellectual dishonesty. You know, oh, look, there's black faces in high places. Right? That's meant to do nothing more than to pacify the black masses. And unfortunately, many black people are stupid enough to fall for that shit. stupid enough to fall for, well, I mean, look, they gave us a black politician. Black politicians have never collectively worked in the interest of black people. They have worked in the interest of white people. And the reason they work in the interest of white people, you know, like you get the Fox News people and the white people in middle America who jump up and down when they see a black politician and try to and have this, you know, fake white rage. You know, they jump up and down about the shit. But the reality is, where's my shit at? The reality is that the smart white people, they know what the fucking deal is. Because at the end of the day, right, if black people don't have a fucking economy, then, right, and we live in a plutocracy, we don't live in a democracy, which means that money is being thrown around. Money is what controls politics. If you don't have money to control your politics, right, well then it's very easy for somebody else to come in with their money and control your politics. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of black politicians that were like, and we're going to do this about the black community, and we're going to solve this, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they come in there and they talk that shit, but when they actually fucking get in there, here comes the Koch brothers like, hey, brother, here's a white envelope. Make sure that doesn't happen. Next thing you know, please. They ain't thinking about nothing about no fucking black people, you know? And that's where, you know, the idea, the concept of sellout comes from. Because they're working against the interest of their own people. They're working against the interest of the people who fucking put them there. You know? And Barack Obama is just a weird situation because, right, obviously all the black people voting for Barack Obama, you know, couldn't get Barack Obama into the White House, right? Obviously some white people had to vote for Barack Obama. And there are white people that genuinely believed in Barack Obama and change and all that other bullshit. And then you have white people who voted for Barack Obama because a white guilt, right? They just want to shut up and pacify. Look, I voted for the black guy. Shut the fuck up, right? You got white people like that, right? And then you got what's the other segment of white people? The white people that voted for Barack Obama because they couldn't stand Bush, right? But there's no concept of you know, they voted for Barack Obama because, you know, they just thought he was just going to be all around awesome, and they didn't see race. And you know, even though he's half white, you know, they didn't see race or anything like that. So, you know, yeah, we gonna put Obama in office because, you know, racism is over. Bullshit. You know, since the day the man's been in office, it's been fucking resistance. Let me get the fuck around this goddamn truck. You know, but it's like, you know, again, even with the affirmative action, again, as I stated, and I'm not going to repeat my whole fucking affirmative action video, but at the end of the day, you know, the whole point of an education is money. It's money that you get from jobs, or you go out there and you create your own jobs. But and I love when white people go, why don't black people create their own jobs? You need money to create your own job. Period. Just to even set up whatever operation you have or want to put forth, you gotta have fucking money. Period. So starting your own jobs and shit like that starts with gainful employment. That unfortunately comes from white people. Right? We don't have dowries and inheritances and all that shit that was passed down from slavery. And all the businesses and shit that white people have owned over the past fucking 300 years. But yeah, black people, we don't have none of that. You know, essentially we were operating on a system of formal white oppression and or white supremacy, you know, up until, you know, about 1970. I mean, you really got to look at that type of shit. You know, people sit there and they want to act like, you know, like it's like I heard some a white guy talking about, you know, it's not the 1950s anymore and shit like that. I'm like, 1950s? I'm like racism existed all the way up and through the mid 70s. I'm saying like the worst part of it. The worst part of it. Like that shit, like the civil rights movement, you know, some will say ended, you know, in about 73. Right after they got locked up all the Black Panthers and shit like that. That's when the shit ended, right? So it's from that point forward that, you know, you could say the worst part of the whole racial divide and cease to exist. You know.